All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Top of the Morning. We're going to start it out a little different this week. Y'all take a listen to this, and we'll be right back here on the Urban Conservative.
You know what? Life is precious. Every moment contemplating the essence. Lessons from transgressions. Progression from adolescence. Document verified our blessings. And the first you gotta be present. Scrolling through the timeline, but they ain't get the message. Not meaning what they saying like it was auto-corrected. Acknowledge what you talking, but I ain't gotta respect it. Not always online, but always staying connected. Food for thought, the most important is breakfast. There's snakes in the grass, watch who you rap with. They take what they need and they make an exit. As quick as it came, as quick as it go. The type to get you all twisted. The show might stab you in the back, yet be calling you bro. All we ever really wanted was a simple things. Not a lot, just a little of the simple things. From the bottom to the top, yeah, we made it. Never pay attention to the people that be hating. Only that cause they ain't got the simple things. No tomorrow's not promised, so we live in the moment. Learn from the past, for that we steady making atonements. Hear the youth say we can't identify, beg to differ. Grew up in the era where you can never slip up. Lost too many friends to drugs, jail, and diabetes. Burn the L after L, then try to take it easy. Time keeps slipping, and history repetitive. We used to burn the chronic, now they tweaking on sedatives. Look before you leaping out the window. Trying to do the dance, but you don't even get the tempo. Professional, tell you fake it till you make it. Success coming, they start displaying their hatred. It's rules to the game, we stay dedicated. From the basement, no question, we elevated. And made changes for the best so the future look brighter. And keep the negativity out the sight. All we ever really wanted was a simple things. Not a lot, just a little of the simple things. From the bottom to the top, yeah, we made it. Never pay attention to the people that be hating. Only that cause they ain't got the simple things. Simple things. Simple things. Simple things. Simple things.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, top of the morning here on the Urban Conservative. I am Abdul Ali. You were just listening to Simple Things by my twin brother, Raheem Architect Soto. Always good to start out the week, start out the morning with some positivity. I thought I would share what I started my morning with. But again, ladies and gentlemen, you're checking out Top of the Morning here on the Urban Conservative. If you haven't done so already, we need you to jump over to our website, tuconservative.com. Support our mission of sharing conservative values and principles to urban communities across this great nation of ours. We really appreciate all the support. You can hit our website. You can grab a Hamilton plan. Join the fastest growing urban conservative community by basically $10. We know everything else is expensive, but we've kept it at $10, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't done so already, also, we need you to visit AliForCongress.com. You do not have to live in North Carolina to support my run for U.S. House District 12. We are working to make this country better by improving early childhood education, upward economic mobility, and prioritizing the safety of our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we are about here at the Urban Conservative. We appreciate all of your support. Make sure that you join us tonight at 8 o'clock for the Urban Conservative podcast. You do not want to miss this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about this this morning, but tonight we have Dave Boliak, who is running for North Carolina State Auditor, part of the runoff that we're going to talk about here this morning. But tonight at 8 p.m., tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell a coworker to join us for the Urban Conservative podcast. There's a lot of questions about Dave. We'll talk about that in a minute. But ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what it is. It's time for Top of the Morning. Let's get right into it. Biden definitely has some problems. That is an understatement. You're probably wondering why I need to say something as simple as Biden's got a problem. Clearly, he has a bunch of problems. One of the interesting things now, these Democrats tend to send people, and I get the politics of it, I get the optics of it, but you have somebody like Joe Biden doing the commencement speech at an HBCU. There can't be any way to say that that's anything other than political. There's got to be a better speaker for an HBCU than Joe Biden. Now, I get that he's the president of the United States. I kind of get that. All right. If we're talking about he's done something to historically to improve, which is not the case with Biden at this point, but faculty at Morehouse College is revolting against the idea of Biden doing the commencement invite, and not for the reasons you would think. Now, most people are going to talk about this and they're going to go, oh, Biden's got a problem with black people. The black people are revolting. Well, this is a little puzzling, but not to be expected in light of how left-leaning, unfortunately, a lot of people in the education system are, especially at HBCUs. This is not surprising, and this is being reported by the New York Times. Y'all take a look at this. Faculty are in an uproar over plans for Biden to deliver the school's commencement address. Professors at the HBCU say his ongoing support for Israel is too much. So him supporting, air finger quote, mind you, his support for Israel, perceived support for Israel, is too much. Several faculty members say under no conditions are they going to sit on a stage with Joe Biden. This is a political science professor at Morehouse. It's on everybody's mind. Douglas is a member of the school's 15-person faculty council, which recently penned a letter to Morehouse president David Thomas expressing their disappointment with Biden's selection. On Thursday, college leaders held an emergency call to see if the fallout could potentially be contained. But the fact of the matter is, they aren't revolting against Biden because he has had terrible policy. They're not going against Biden because he's done a crap job on the economy. They're not refusing to be seated with Biden because he's done a terrible job at defending the southern border. That's not why they're refusing to sit with him. It's because they believe he is supportive of Israel. Y'all take a look at this.
Controversy on campus as Morehouse College selects President Joe Biden to deliver its commencement speech next month.
Students and faculty reportedly divided on the decision. So we want to get you straight out to 11 Alive's Joe Ripley live tonight from Morehouse's campus. And Joe, this isn't the first time that a president has delivered a graduation address to an HBCU.
That's right, Jennifer. 3 years ago, President Biden delivered a commencement address to graduates at South Carolina State University in Orangeburg. And last year, Howard University graduates heard from President Biden. And now the president will deliver his third commencement address to an HBCU, this time here at Morehouse College in Atlanta. Raymond Enibokian is a sophomore at Morehouse College.
Okay.
The school he calls the best fit for him.
Camaraderie and brotherhood that comes along with just being a Morehouse student.
Next month, the historically black college will host its most prestigious visitor, President Joe Biden. According to the White House, Biden will deliver the commencement address.
All right, guys. If you're only listening and you can't see this, Joe Biden looks like an old slave owner. He looks like he would own somebody.
On campus on May 19th.
It's not something that I feel like I would honestly even partake in that commencement. I don't see myself being there.
Enibokian sees Biden's visit as a campaign stop and a political tool in an election year.
At the end of the day, this is kind of like something that's on his political agenda to kind of maybe get more young black voters or something.
However you feel about Biden, having a president be willing to speak at a graduation is a tremendous honor.
Eugene Sledge supports the president's visit. The Morehouse sophomore says Biden's address could inspire him and others to go to the polls in November, but there are reported concerns among faculty and a potential for protests to break out surrounding the president's visit.
And if there are protesters, I just hope that they can do things peacefully instead of violently.
President Biden last visited Morehouse in 2022. Vice President Kamala Harris came to the HBCU in 2020 and 2022. This time in 2024, the president will step onto a campus divided over his presence with the coming election as a backdrop to his historical speech.
I'm all for protesting, especially like with the world that we live in right now.
All right. The problem that we have with this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the staff, and this is why the news media doesn't want this to, because they understand the vast majority of Americans support Israel and think we should be supporting Israel. This is the fact of the matter, is that, and they tend to want to leave it out. But what you see on the screen now is that it is a clear push by leftist faculty against the idea of having someone who supports Israel there. Now, what is beyond mystifying to me, and I'm sure some of you all at home, this idea of any American institution, any student at a publicly funded, partially publicly funded, anybody taxpayer going to this, being in support of Hamas is strange. I don't want to get our channel flagged, but do I need to pull up the videos of the people over there and what they scream? What to America? It ain't long life and health. It ain't live long and prosper. That's for sure. But that's just one of Joe Biden's problems, is he's seeing kickback there. Then he goes the other night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which is typically supposed to be funny. I couldn't find the humor in any of this. I mean, this is just y'all listen. Now, for those of you who are just listening and can't see this man looks every bit. Is there anything even in that glass? This man looks terrible.
Age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me.
Okay, you got to give him that. You got to give him that. That was a good line. He thought it was a good one, though. He did the nose touch. It was a little zinger.
I had a great stretch since the State of the Union.
You had a what?
Well, Donald, I had a great stretch since the State of the Union. Well, Donald has had a few tough days lately. You might call it stormy weather. I'm sincerely not asking of you to take sides, but asking you to rise up to the seriousness of the moment.
You literally said, if we don't vote for you, we ain't black. You are asking people to take sides. Come on, man.
Move past the horse race numbers and the gotcha moments.
You just did a gotcha moment.
And the distractions, the sideshows that have come to dominate and sensationalize our politics. And focus on what's actually at stake. And I think in your hearts you know what's at stake. Making sure democracy endures, American.
We are a representative republic, Mr. President. Come on, man.
To a free press, to an informed citizenry, to an America where freedom and democracy endure. God bless America.
I don't know, man. This guy doesn't sound good. It is no wonder he's losing numbers. It is absolutely no wonder this guy is losing numbers. That was an attempted zinger. I don't know what he was thinking he was accomplishing with that. But the fact of the matter is, he is losing support among Black and Hispanic voters. That is a problem. And this is from an Axios March 13th report. Democrats' big vulnerability. Why they're losing Black and Hispanic voters. Gallup poll numbers going down. Only at 66%, down to 47%. Republicans are, they're doing their numbers among white folk, but this Black and this Hispanic thing, new data from Axios shows that Democrats' longtime advantage with Black, Latino, and Asian American voters has shrunk to its lowest point in more than 60 years. Latinos are the nation's largest non-white group, still lean Democrat, but they've been shifting Republican over the last 2 decades and are no longer the slam dunk Democrats think they were in 1960. And wait till a lot of the folks in the Hispanic Latino community that, and I've heard this, shouts out to Latinos del Sur, shouts out to the Libre Initiative. I've heard this, is that the Democrats, for people who Spanish is their first language, they tend to get democracy and Democrats kind of misconstrued. I'm not saying all, but you could understand how one who's not familiar with the language, if you're a little slick, you could convince somebody that Democrats are about democracy. Would be an easy sell. But that's what you're seeing right now, is that when I say Biden has a problem, his real problem is that the more Republicans recognize that we have more work to do within the Black, Hispanic, and in the urban centers in general. So we take this out of the race context and put this into the context of where it actually matters, and where Republicans, conservatives have to fight is in these dark blue, deep blue seats. We have to be willing to go meet people where they are, listen to what their issues are, show them that our policies are the solutions that they need. That's how we're going to pull. But that's what's happening. I think you're seeing that more and more state parties, county parties are starting to recognize that. New York Times Siena College poll, March 2nd, found that President Biden led Trump by just 56 points to 44 among non-white Americans. That's a group Biden won by almost 50 points when the two men fought it out last time. This is going to be a problem for them. Now, the interesting thing is, look what Axios tries to tuck into this story. Trump made several racist and bigoted comments about immigrants and people of color. And we've already covered what Trump said at the BCF dinner. No need to rehash that. But the fact of the matter is that you've got Biden on the ropes. You got people at HBCUs who don't want him to come there because he's supportive of Israel. I think that's a problem when you have college campuses supporting Hamas. Definitely an issue. Okay. But we're going to be right back here on Top of the Morning. We're going to talk a little bit about Mark Robinson. Had a great weekend. Had an opportunity to see him this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in his race, which will lead us into talking about the runoff going on here in North Carolina. Y'all stay tuned right here on Top of the Morning on the Urban Conservative. Y'all don't go nowhere.
Doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
Country illegally cast a ballot. It takes the power of your vote away. Visit onlycitizens.vote to find out how you can contact your legislature and get them to pass a citizens-only voting amendment. Again, visit onlycitizens.vote and defend your right to vote. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back. It's Top of the Morning here on the Urban Conservative. As always, jump in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from so we can give you a shout out. Here in North Carolina, you're living under a rock if you don't know what's happening here. But North Carolina in 2020 elected its first Black lieutenant governor. Guy just so happened to be a Republican named Mark Robinson. And Mark Robinson, according to the left, according to the Democrat operatives, is a hate-filled, bigot, woman-hating, what do you call it, white supremacist and black skin, they would have you believe. The majority of the press, WRAL and others in North Carolina, have done him no favors. Matter of fact, Roy Cooper, I don't think I have been able to find one instance where Roy Cooper, the governor of North Carolina, has even recognized the lieutenant governor. I don't think I have one picture of Mark Robinson at the governor's mansion with Roy Cooper. Could you imagine if it was a Democrat Black lieutenant governor who had never been officially recognized by the governor, ever been to the White House, to the governor's mansion? Could you imagine the uproar? How bad people would be screaming in agony and the gnashing of teeth if Mark Robinson was a Democrat and had been treated by the governor the way Roy Cooper has treated him? Could you imagine what people would have to say about that? The left would be having a field day. But because Mark Robinson is not a Democrat, because Mark Robinson doesn't believe that girls can become boys and boys can become girls, that Mark Robinson doesn't believe you can change your gender. Because Mark Robinson believes in marriage, traditional marriage between a man and a woman, and is unafraid to say that, because Mark Robinson doesn't hold to the idea that girls should be playing in boys' sports. Mark Robinson holds to the idea that conservative economic policy is what's benefited the state of North Carolina and made us one of the best places to do business in the country. Because he believes all of those things, the pundits, the talking heads will tell you Mark Robinson is the worst thing since sliced bread. And on top of that, they'll say, Mark doesn't have any black support. You'd be wrong about that. You'd be very wrong about that. I got to give a big shout out to the team over at Americans for Citizens Voting, Kevrick McCain, Paul Jacob, Timothy McCain, Craig Scott, the whole crew over there, Kim. Mark Robinson stopped in the Minority Leadership Summit this weekend. Okay? And what you see on your screen is Mark Robinson walking into a room full of dun 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 black people. I don't see the gnashing of teeth in the video. I don't see the throwing of objects at him. I don't see the look of disdain on anyone's face. I don't see hatred. I see admiration. I see respect. I see a room full of black folks there to support the lieutenant governor, soon to be governor of North Carolina. And why would the Democrats, why would the left, why would they want to extinguish the fire of young people seeing the greatness that you can come from? Why would they want to extinguish hope? Why would they want to keep Mark Robinson out of the classrooms? Why would they want to keep, and I'm saying from a historical perspective, why would the media not want to give him positive coverage? Because someone's saying that we should respect the United States of America and we should be thankful that we were born in a country that has this type of freedom? Why would the left want to keep him out of situations where young black men could see the example of somebody who came from, let's just call it nothing? Man definitely didn't have a silver spoon, and he talked about that. But this idea that you're going to keep, the media is going to portray is that Mark Robinson has no black support, and that would be wrong. Now, they don't want Mark Robinson to have black support. The Democrat activist, and you can pull up some of the articles. I'm not even going to give them the look to pull up the articles, but some of these folks, you know, they send these pastors out there, and I have one simple thing that I can do to prove these people don't have the best interests of their communities in mind. I could just look at the stroke belt rate in some of these churches. I could just look at the high school graduation rates. Let's talk about literacy rates. What have y'all been doing? Mark Robinson's only been the lieutenant governor for about 4 years now. Y'all church has been in these communities for decades. But that's a little too close for comfort for some folks, and that's why they do what they can to absolutely put out negative propaganda surrounding Mark Robinson. That's why they did what they did to pressure his wife's business. This man is the worst nightmare for the white liberal. For the white liberal Democrat, for the black Democrat that wants to keep the struggles, that wants to keep the race bait going, Mark is an absolute problem for them. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Robinson attended the New Leadership Summit, the Carolinas New Leadership Summit down in Greensboro, North Carolina, to be welcomed to a room full of black folks. We put that lie to bed that he doesn't have any black support, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll be right back. We got a few minutes left on Top of the Morning. We're going to talk about the runoff going on in North Carolina. We'll be right back here on Top of the Morning. Don't go nowhere.
Doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
I served in the Army 26 years, retired as a colonel. I started a business from scratch that created a lot of great jobs for veterans. We help the military develop ways to defeat IEDs, improvised explosive devices, saving the lives of hundreds of American soldiers and preventing thousands of serious injuries. Now let this conservative fighter take on Biden's mess at the border.
I'm Lori Buckout. I approve this message.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are back. It is top of the morning here on the Urban Conservative. Do remember, we need you to join us this evening. We will have actually one of the candidates running for North Carolina State Auditor, Dave Boliak, will be joining us tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about his record, his voting record. There were some questions about him being a Democrat before. We're going to take all of that stuff head on tonight at 8 p.m. right here on the Urban Conservative. You can check it out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and, obviously listen back to it wherever you listen to podcasts. So we have that going. And speaking of that race, that is what is going on right now is an auditor's runoff here in the great state of North Carolina. You have Jack Clark, Republican, against Dave Boliak. They are both running for the state auditor's position, neither receiving 30% of the vote, which pushed it into a runoff. Now, all things considered, I've seen both of these guys speaking at events. I know they've been, kind of both tearing the road up. But the fact of the matter is you guys have to choose one. Actual election date is going to be on May 14th. Early voting is open now. And that, you'll be able to do that. And also coming up, not only is there an auditor's runoff, but you do need to be aware that there is a lieutenant governor runoff. Jim O'Neill and Hal Weatherman are, hold on, let me get that picture back up. Hal Weatherman. So y'all know who we're talking about here. But you've got Jim O'Neill and Hal Weatherman, who are both running for the Republican nomination for lieutenant governor. Now, interestingly, we were just talking about Mark Robinson. Hal Weatherman does have Mark Robinson's endorsement, came out last week. Hal Weatherman, former chief of staff for Dan Forest, worked for Sue Myrick. Just all around well-known, has hit all 100 counties. He is running against Jim O'Neill, who's a district attorney. We will see how that pans out, but you all need to know, if you live in North Carolina, that the runoff is indeed going now. You can go to your county board of elections to find out. If you have voted in your primary initially, you can vote in the primary, the runoff. Only if you voted in the primary. If you're an unaffiliated voter and you pulled the Republican ballot, then you also qualify to vote in the runoff. But again, you're going to want to visit your County Board of Elections website in order to find out more about where the early voting locations are for your county. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, again, join us tonight. We'll have one of the candidates in that runoff, Dave Boliak, running for state auditor, joining us on the Urban Conservative Podcast, 8 p.m. tonight, live and direct. We're going to get into it, help you make a decision in 2024 if you live in North Carolina. So that'll be that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, get in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Who you're supporting for the runoff. You've got Jack Clark and Dave Boliak, Hal Weatherman, Jim O'Neill, running in the state auditor and lieutenant governor's races, respectively. Also, again, 8 p.m. tonight, Dave Boliak live on the Urban Conservative. So with that, y'all have a positive and productive rest of your day and a great week out there. Top of the morning to y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm Abdul Ali. This has been Top of the Morning. Have brought you chaos at our border, failed foreign policy, sky-high prices, and out-of-control crime. It's time for new ideas and new leadership. Vote Abdul Ali for U.S. House District 12, and let's make America better.